conspiracy to defraud, right? This is the public court of opinion, right? Let me say that, right? To make sure, I have that as my disclaimer.
His first comment on the SSL saga, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says, like all Jamaicans, he is in utter shock at the alarming and what he termed, quote, the evil fraud that has allegedly been committed.
I have great confidence in the capacity and determination of the investigative bodies to unravel all aspects of this and bring all perpetrators of this grand embezzlement to justice. At this time, it is tempting to doubt our financial institutions. But I would ask that we don't paint an entire hard-working industry with the brush of a few very dishonest individuals. Jamaica is the leading financial center in the English-speaking Caribbean, and we will do everything to protect Jamaica's position in this regard.
All right, people, let us see if we can, process that and believe as it relates to what Nigel Clarke said, right? That, of course, his interest, right, is to get to the bottom of this. So let us play the second clip. We are putting them in sequence, right, in a chronological sequence for people to really look at the picture where SSL is concerned.
The Prime Minister has said there will be full transparency in this matter. No stone will be left unturned. The investigation has full operational independence and will pursue the facts wherever they may lead. They will unearth exactly how funds were allegedly stolen, who benefited from such theft, and who organized and collaborated in this. The probe will also seek to identify whether assets have been acquired with the proceeds of this fraud, whether here in Jamaica or overseas. If and when such assets are identified, all legal steps will be taken to restrain these assets with intention of full forfeiture. Having spoken with some of those leading the investigation, I can say that they are resolute and determined to unravel its complexities and bring all responsible to justice. In fact, based on the magnitude of this fraud and the lines of inquiry being pursued, the Financial Investigations Division and the Fraud Squad have already, last week, sought assistance from the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI, and other international partners. Ladies and gentlemen, despite this most unfortunate development, Jamaica's financial sector remains strong. There are, within the financial sector, we have the banking sector, the securities dealer sector, pensions.
I am not even going to go to the third clip yet, because the third clip, we are putting him together tonight, We are going to slice and dice everything that he said. That clip said, as it relates to Nigel Clarke, said no stone will be left unturned. And the guilty parties of this crime, this naughty crime, will expose. We know that every single word that we heard there in that clip has not been delivered. We know that everything that Nigel Clarke spoke in that clip is a callous lie. Now, one of the apparent lie was where Nigel Clarke said they consulted with the FBI and the FBI, along with FID, is working in tandem. No, Ratty, we know that that's a lie. Ratty, what say you?
let me just say to Minister Clarke, listen, you're coming. We're gonna do a program on you this Saturday, Minister Clarke. So watch carefully. And you're coming, and again, we're gonna be in touch. And like I said, I've lived, I've worked, I've gone to school in DC. I know the place fairly well. And the walls are thin in DC, if you know what I mean. But I know of places where I can take you and we can sit down and we can have a nice meal and we can talk about issues in Jamaica that we can't talk about them while you're in Jamaica. So, and by the way, nobody will ever know that you and I have spoken, because any information that is singular in nature, I will not reveal it. Anything that they can't trace back to you, then sure, certainly it's fair game. But anything that will come back to you, so you don't have to worry about it. Plus, you're going to be here for what, 5 years, 5 years, and we know that your sponsor is leaving pretty soon. So you may have to leave because the person coming in will bring in their own team, but you will be able to get a job in the international financial sector. We can arrange that for you. Don't worry about it. We don't see you going back to Jamaica anytime soon. So we're going to sit and we're going to have a nice discussion, and you're going to tell us what actually went on with SSL and other things, because the story about you couldn't find the document from FSC, and even though the FSC executive, the one who used to work with you, for you, said that he sent it to you by courier and by email, you claim you couldn't find it, and that you had to 1 week and you went through some drawers and you found it. We don't believe that story. So, but we'll get to that. Now, here's one of the things he said. He said, you can't pay the financial, and I'm paraphrasing, you can't paint the financial industry by the actions of a few dishonest individuals. How many people have we arrested out of that few? One.
Exactly.
One minister. One. That's shameful, because you come out and in a grandiose fashion, you say no stone will be left unturned, and that reminds me of Dr. Carl Williams, the former police commissioner, who left every stone unturned. He said he's not gonna leave any stone unturned, and he left every single one of them unturned. One of the worst police commissioners in the history of Jamaica, the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And you said that you're gonna pursue facts where they lead. You talk like you're an investigator. That's what it sounds like to me. So yeah, since you take the lead, then you have to take the blame. And you said the people will be resolute and determined to bring people to justice, and that the FID and the fraud squad, they sought assistance from the FBI and other partners. Now, Minister Clarke, it would be a disservice for you to leave Jamaica and not tell the people when the FBI came to Jamaica. What FBI team came to Jamaica? And we're not talking about the one person who was assigned to the embassy. We're not counting that person. That's the person's job, right? That's the ALAT, the assistant legal attaché, who works for the person, who works for the legal attaché who's based in the Dominican Republic. Jamaica is like a road trip, they call it, but I think they have somebody there now. We're not talking about that, sir. We're talking about a team of it, because you gave the impression that a team was going to come in and they were going to look from top to bottom and they're going to work with FID and FSC or whomever they're going to work with. And instead you brought in Kroll, Kroll.
Yes.
I paid, you pay for that service. And up to now, we still don't see the report from Kroll. And Kroll pack up and gone. And the UK government they subsidized Kroll. So they paid some money for Kroll, and Jamaica paid a little bit, and we brought Kroll in. So some of these consultants, these fat cats, they made a ton of money off of this thing, and we still don't see the report, Minister Clarke. So you cannot leave Jamaica without talking about the FBI and the other international partners coming in, along with Kroll, and addressing this investigation. And if you choose not to speak to the Jamaican people, then when you come here, you and I can talk, and then we can figure out a way how we can release information without anything being attributed to you. And trust me, yeah. So we can arrange. That's easy peasy. So when you come, we're gonna be talking. But Minister Clarke, what you think this Saturday? We're going to do a little piece on you. But getting back to your question about FBI and things, this is nonsense. This is rubbish. Because I'm telling you, if the FBI were there, they would have come out, and what would happen is that the team leader would have come out, and you see when they do the press conferences, team leader would have been there and would be get introduced, and the person would say, yes, we're here to assist the Jamaican government, and blah blah blah. 30 seconds, and then I'm done, right? But then you'd have a team, because then you'd have a team, you'd have investigators, you'd have analysts, you'd have a team leader, and whoever else they want to bring. So you're talking about a minimum of about 4 people. Minimum 4 people to come and do this thing and unravel it. So, oh yeah, Unicare, yeah, the laptops. Yeah, no, you know that building, that's a crime scene, right? And somehow people violate the space and go in and thief the laptop. Then, what is, you can't make this up. If you get a screenwriter or a playwright, something, and say, make up a story. Make up a story. We can do a film or a play about a financial, this stuff here. They can't make this up. Cannot make this up. Only in Jamaica.
Now, Brother Ratty and viewers, we're going to go through this document, right? Now, let us get to, let me start in terms of, hold on. Doesn't work now. Okay. All of it is there. All of it is there. All right, good. Now let us get into. Okay, we have recovery. All right, we're going to read from recovery 3.0 before we get into the investigation. Very interesting, you know, right? And the amount of lies that pop into this document. So 3.0, recovery of SSL client losses due to the alleged fraud. The transfer described in section 1.1, 1.3 above represent transfers of client assets that existed in SSL at the time of the appointment of the temporary manager. As such, none of the 200 accounts reportedly affected by SSL fraud have recovered any part of what was lost due to the fraud. Any recovery could only come by way of identification and pursuit of the proceed of the fraud in accordance with Jamaica Proceeds of Crime Act. As such, the Financial Investigation Division FID, in its role as the Asset Recovery Agency under the POCA, is empowered by law to provide for the investigation, identification, and recovery of the proceed of crime and for connected matters. The FID is also the enforcing authority under the POCA for the purposes of conducting proceedings relating to criminal forfeiture under Section 5 of the Act, and the FID is also expressly authorized to conduct civil recovery proceedings in the Supreme Court. Now, people, let us get into the 4.0 SSL investigation. Let us get into this investigation here. Now, as I come to Nigel Clarke, as I mentioned in my opening budget presentation in March 2023, and again in March 2024, with respect to the investigation into SSL, the policy position of the government is that we will make available whatever resources are required to ensure a thorough, fair, and complete and independent investigation. We will also leave no stone unturned, like Nigel Clarke. We will also, bulletin point number 2, follow the evidence wherever it may lead, and bulletin point number 3, and seek international assistance. Now, this is the policy that has been implemented. As previously updated, Kroll Associates UK Limited, a renowned international investigations firm, was engaged to undertake an independent forensic audit to understand the facts relating to the fraud perpetrated at Stocks and Securities Limited over the period 2010 to 2023. The company was selected because it did not have any connection in Jamaica and because its vast experience given the complexity of the matter, the volume of transactions, the number of accounts held by clients, and the number of bank accounts held by the SSL network of companies. The CRAW team, working with support of government agencies, including the FID and FSC, utilized technology, data analytics, and forensic expertise to produce a comprehensive and independent report. People, let me read back that over now, because this is important in terms of where we are going tonight, and to show systemic corruption. Let us read back that paragraph over. I want people to remit this in their heads. The CRAW team, working with support of government agencies, who are the government agencies, including the FID and FSC, what they do in terms of all the tools that they utilize technology, data analytics, and forensic expertise to produce what? A comprehensive and independent report of its findings in November 2023. The CRAW report has confirmed that the suspected fraudulent activity and mismanagement at SSL and its related parties were much broader than initially understood. When the benefit of this report, their own investigations, and through collaboration with other law enforcement agencies, the FID has publicly reported that a file, listen now people, that a file was submitted to the Office of the Director of the Public Prosecutions for the consideration of criminal charges against individual linked to SSL network. Now let me read back that over. I want people to understand where I'm going. Now let us read back that over again. With the benefit of this report, their own investigations, and remember what they use, remember what they use. They use the utilize modern technology, data analytics, and forensic expertise to produce a comprehensive report. Now, so with the benefit of that comprehensive report, their own investigations, and through collaborations with other law enforcement agencies, the FID has publicly reported that a file now from all of what been done was now submitted to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions for the consideration of criminal charges against individuals linked to SSL network of companies and or the companies pursuant to the Proceeds of Crime Act, Larceny Act, and financial sector legislations. Take it away. Let me talk to the panel. Brother Rattigan.
Yes, sir.
I know you have listened keenly to what I have just read here. Now I am going to come with my questions. So we have seen where FID, we have seen where CRAW, we have seen where FSC work in collaboration, work in tandem to present a comprehensive report. Upon the completion of their report, they recommended charges. They submitted the file to the DPP. Ratty, what's the DPP is waiting on?
What's the DPP what?
What is it that the DPP is waiting on?
Oh, we have one lady. They have one lady that they charge. Remember you said that there are a few, and I guess one is a few.
Yes.
But again, let me just take a step back. It says what you just read. It says that the FID collaborated with Kroll and with other law enforcement agencies. If you notice, it never said FBI. Yet when him come out, him come out and making big speech himself, FBI, blah, 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 blah. Why never say that this report said that, okay, we collaborate with the FBI? Because that's not secret, because you come out and talk about it already. People,
Liar.
let me tell you something. And if you look, it says the Kroll report. You know what happened here? Kroll
Yes.
took the lead. Kroll took the lead. And let me tell you now, let me share something with you folks. The FBI is not going to go into an investigation and take orders from a private firm. It is not going to happen. It is not going to happen. They're not going to do it. Because there you have all kinds of problems. You're going to have one of compromises. You're going to have one of the protection of classified information. They're just simply not going. Then you're going to have one of who's in charge and how will the information flow. And the FBI is not going to do it. I'm telling you, they're not going to have Kroll come and work under Kroll and have Kroll put out a report. Hell no. Here's what more than likely happened. If the FBI, if they were involved, the one person with that embassy, then bring some leads over to the person and say, listen, can you run these through your system and tell us what you find? Or can you run these through, the various field offices? Like if SSL had a connection to an office, let's say in Seattle, Washington, the ALAT would then send it to, it would cut the legat in Dominican Republic, and then a lead would be set to the Seattle office, and then they would pursue the lead, obtain the information, and send it back to the legat and the ALAT, so that then they in a format where they can pass it to the Jamaican government. But in terms of sitting down and working with Kroll, that I'm willing to bet you that didn't happen. That did not happen. I have a few sources, and they're telling me that no team left Washington D.C. or the U.S. or anywhere and went to Jamaica and sit down there and work with Kroll and the Jamaican government. So when they say that they collaborated, and that's the key word. When they say collaborated, they're talking about shagging. We call it shagging leads. That's what I mean. Meaning that they just come over and say, hey, we want you to check to see if this person was in the States, or if this person did that, or if this account is there, or whatever, the transfers, blah, 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 blah. And then they take that piece of paper and then they send it to the United States to a field office. Field office would just cover the lead, send the information back, then they would pass it on to them. But in terms of sitting down and working with these people, no, because so many mistakes were made there that I just can't see the FBI doing it. Just, how the hell you, Freedom mentioned it too, the stuff that's on the computer, that should be somewhere, that should be stored somewhere else. I know you can't have basically a crime scene, people working inside our crime scene, and then things being stolen out of our crime scene. That's nonsensical. I never heard of something like this. So, and then if you notice, it came out saying that it was the Kroll report. I've been involved in overseas investigations where leaders of a particular country called me in and said, listen, we have an issue here and we would like you to assist with it. And the FBI went in by itself, and we did a comprehensive investigation, and then we provided a report to the leader of that nation and his staff. That's how it's done. You don't come in and then have them hire a private concern, and then you work alongside a private concern, and then your report gets mixed in with that private concern's the results of their investigation. What's it gonna say? Kroll report, and then Kroll going to say, oh, but the FBI, we talk to the FBI and we'll work with them. And it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, people. Just believe me. Just believe me when I tell you. So this idea of turning over stones, the stone turn over upon Nigel, that's why I'm around with. The stone them turn over upon him. Believe me, him not turn over no stone at all. They're probably looking at him now as the weak fence, and like our good friend, was it Lonesome? Beyond Lonesome. What's the team said? That Minister Clarke, there will be a lot of going away parties for you. Don't eat when you go to those places. Don't eat and don't drink. Just tell them say you're full, eat at your yard, because they know you're coming here, and they really don't trust you. They don't trust you. They think that you're a weak fence and that you will wilt under pressure and you will spill the beans. That remains to be seen. Because, you know, you and I will go have a little talk and, you know, that's separate and apart from whoever might want to talk to you from official agencies now. But you and I will go have a little talk and you know, we'll see how things go. But again, Byron, this thing here, this report here, it makes no sense that Kroll would do a report. FID would take excerpts from that report or the report itself and pass it over to the DPP with charges to be filed, and yet still we only have one person today that's been charged. It makes no sense.
But this is how we are trying to prove the systemic corruption, because look, so we have FID, Ratty, and we have Kroll and FSC along with other collaborators, right, who work in the case. Now, my question, if Nigel Clarke stated that the scope of the SSL investigation is out of the capacity of the Jamaican financial investigators to fully comprehend, right? And so Nigel Clarke seek the help of forensic experts, Kroll, and Kroll completed a comprehensive report, right, and recommended charges to be laid. Then my question is, why Paula Llewellyn, with limited experience in financial crime, asking for more information? Because this is where I'm going, Ratty. This is where I'm going. Let me shape it. Nigel Clarke looking on the scope of the crime, of the fraud. He said it's pretty much huge as it relates to the amount of accounts being affected, right? So Nigel Clarke said to get to the bottom of the crime, he wants an independent investigator outside the boundaries of Jamaica, right? And quite professional forensic investigator who have the vast experience as it relates to financial crime, right? And so FID came in as a result of that. Now remember, in the DPP, right, doesn't have the expertise as it relates to FID, so to speak, as it relates to Kroll, so to speak. Paula Llewellyn doesn't have the financial expertise. So you have Kroll, you have FID, right? FSC, all of them combined.
And CTOC.
And CTOC, all of them combined, do a comprehensive report and said, okay, here it is, Paula, and recommended charges to be laid. But when Paula got the report, Paula sit on it and asking for more information. But my take is this. Then if Paula doesn't have the expertise as it relates to financial crime, investigating that high level of financial crime, and which Kroll had done it, why is it that Paula is requesting more information? I just don't get it. And she's not the expert.
See, that's why I keep saying that the best way to address this is what they call intelligence-led investigations. And what that means is that you have to stop working in silos and you use the fusion center, the intelligence center concept, where everybody works together and they have this initiative, SSL, and one of the key persons there will always be your prosecutor. Because at the end of the day, when you arrest somebody, that person has to be taken to court for a trial, unless the person pleads guilty. And even you have to plead guilty in court anyway. So they should have been working. She should have assigned somebody in her office with some background in prosecuting financial crimes, if she's not the one going to prosecute it. And then they would sit down. She would get the statute and said, okay, this is what I need to prove fraud. This is what I need to prove, whatever the charges they're thinking about. And they start from there. But you can't do the report and then send it over to her, because you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen when you send it over there. It's just like when they send it to when the Integrity Commission sends a recommendation to the corruption prosecutor. You know what's going to happen. You know, we've seen it. You need to have them sit down from Jump Street and say, okay, I am going to need this. These are the elements of the crime. These are the things I need to prove to get a conviction. And so investigators, analysts, whoever else we have, you need to go out and bring me back these key pieces of what we call evidence, because I'm going to have to present this in a court of law to obtain my conviction. And you start from there. But you can't have them do a report and then you bring the report over to her and then she says, oh, I need more information. And you're right. She's saying I need more information, and we don't even know if she has an expertise in prosecuting financial crimes.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, it's crazy, but watch this now, Ratty, in terms of the next document that I'm going to present. And then now you can see the pieces of the systemic corruption, you know, just combining together. You will see how that piece is shaped. Because look, before we get to that document, Ratty, let us reason a little bit as it relates to my prediction, our subjective opinion. We have seen that the Integrity Commission, right, submitted a report, right? But let us look on the corruption prosecutor. We can presume, right, based on what we call modus operandi, the pattern of behavior coming from the corruption prosecutor, as it relates to find some ways, some means, some method, right, not to bring forth charges against the culpable, right, the culprits. Now, I can tell you, Ratty, that my perception, right, as it relates to this recent report that sent to Parliament, and we are anticipating Parliament to have it tabled, right, is that the corruption prosecutor, right, we're going to see ways and means in terms of her justification. I'm just saying this. This is my opinion, right? Because I am now reached the level where I think I can anticipate the corruption prosecutor based on her history, based on her pattern of behavior.
Okay.
I can fear it. You understand? As it relates to my opinion, subjective opinion, right, is saying that what we are going to see in that report is that the corruption prosecutor find ways and means, right, to suggest why charges, right, she's not going to charge, right? So let me just get that out of the way. So then nothing is going to surprise me. As a matter of fact, I will be surprised if the corruption prosecutor comes with charges. I will be surprised. So let me say that, right? Now, let us go to the next document, right? And put some thoughts.
Before I touch the next document, here is the thing. I would be surprised if the report, let's say the report is about the Prime Minister's wife and the Speaker of the House and the corruption. I would be surprised if the prosecutor says, yes, I recommend prosecution. I'd be surprised. Because we've seen instances where she did go along with the prosecution of Leslie Campbell. Mm-hmm. She did go along with the prosecution of Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, mm-hmm. Vaz, and a couple other people. But the key people, yes. We want to say, here's what we want from our corruption prosecutor. We want our corruption prosecutor to display incorruptibility. What do I mean by that? Meaning that she's going to dispense her decision without fear, favor, friendship.
Yes. Fairness.
Without fear, favor, friendship.
Yes.
That's what we want. And if she's not going to prosecute somebody, it should be based on the facts and law. it should be based on the, it can't be based on the things that we've seen. What she's twisted. She look, the four accounts the other day. There is no reason why I didn't see a legal reason as to why the prime minister was not prosecuted. I just didn't see it.
Exactly.
I just didn't see it. Look at the facts, and then she used a case that was an election case that, to me, it was inapplicable to the facts at hand.
Exactly.
Right? If you're going to do that, you come up with more than one case. You know,
Yeah.
there's lots of cases she could have used based on the facts to say, okay, fine. But here's the thing, and I learned this in law school a long time ago. A professor said to me, sometimes the way judges work, because look, we're all biased. No matter how much we try to be independent and objective, we are biased. We are all the way, we are biased, right? And he said, what some of the judges do is that them already decide in their mindset, this is what they want. And now they work backwards. They find ways to justify the decision. Instead of starting from the facts and applying the law and then reach a decision, they already reach a decision based on their biases. And they said, no, I have to go and find something now to justify it. And when you read the corruption prosecutor's last report, when you read it, it just sounded like to me like that is what happened. She decided that I'm not going to prosecute this prime minister, and so let me find something. That's what it sounds like to me. Exactly. And then she come up with this case that it was a weak case, and then she just ignored some of the facts that she ignored the facts that he got training on what to do and what not to do with his statutory declaration in terms of providing information. He got training. She completely ignored that. That shows that goes to knowledge, that he knew he was supposed to do it. And from that, you can go to intent, right? But and remember, no, the statute says not intentionally, it says knowingly. And if you show that, look, he knew he was supposed to do it.
Exactly.
He knew it. And then he got the training. And then not only that, he admitted that he was using those accounts. He was using the accounts. He said he admitted that he was on the accounts and that he used the accounts. Exactly. And she just said, well, no, I don't see any evidence here. So sorry to interrupt you, my brother.
Yes. So let me ask another question, Ratty. Now that we know that, okay, all right, 28 accounts out there as it relates to what we believe, we the public believe that, okay, 28 accounts. I am asking the question, Ratty. What if, right, during FID investigation, that FID find more accounts out there and the Prime Minister who have the opportunity right now, right, has not spoken as it relates to it, as it relates to any other accounts that may have not yet been established. What will happen?
You know what? I never thought about that. That's an interesting point you raise. That's a very good point. I never thought about that, to be honest with you. Okay. No, here is my on the spot thinking, because I never thought about this, so I never processed it or anything. But I'm processing it now as you mentioned it. Yes. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna add something to what you say, right? And say, add it by asking the question. If the FID, if in their investigation they come up with other accounts that he didn't tell the Integrity Commission about, who's going to prosecute now? Do they send it back to the Integrity Commission and say, here, you have something else, or do they go ahead and prosecute on their own because they can for financial crimes? It's going to be interesting. That's an interesting point to raise. I don't know what the answer is going to be. I really don't.
Okay. And we talk about, on the previous document, we have seen where FIDs, we have seen where Crawl, we have seen where the FSC and other competent bodies, investigators, working in collaboration to present a comprehensive report to the DPP, right, and presented it and recommend charges. Now, let us read this document that I am presenting. And remember, FSC was a part of that collaboration. right, in terms of putting that comprehensive report together. So let us read this. FSC requests judge to hide trustees' report on SSL wind-up. This no look good. Remember that the previous document that we have read, FSC, Fitz, and Crowd, right, have done their investigation, and from the first line that we are reading, seal the evidence, FSC requests judge to hide trustees' report on SSL wind up. Now let us get to the bottom meat of the matter. Tax and Security Limited and the Financial Service Commission were back in court Thursday for a progress update on winding down the fraud affecting SSL. But things took a turn when the FSC requested that the trustees' report be sealed due to concerns over its contents. What could that concern be? The request was made by Simone Mahi, KC, the new legal counsel representing the FSC. To the judge overseeing the case, Justice David Batt, after going over the report prepared by Cadian Campbell, whose appointment as trustee of SSL was upheld by the court in May against the wishes of the FSC. At that time, Justice Batt ordered Campbell to prepare a report within 90 days, and that the report was to be the subject of the court hearing on Thursday. Okay, so that report was done. However, it was revealed that Campbell submitted the report on Wednesday, a day before the hearing, and that he was requesting that the extension for the filing of the report be dated to when it was submitted. There were no objections by any of the attorneys present to accepting the late report. But May noted that the FSC's side was at a disadvantage due to the late submission of the report. Let us quote what the FSC is saying. We do have certain concerns, though, my lord. We do believe that given the nature of this estate, certain fees would have to be approved by the court, my lord. We have particular concerns about the report that has been filed. It's an odd situation, my lord. As I was saying to my friend, it's not your regular claim where someone files an affidavit and there is a response. But there are things in the report that trouble us. Akudawaso said May in her statement to Justice Batt. Justice Batt accepted Campbell's request that his report, which was filed late, be accepted as final. Caroline Hay, KC Campbell, King Counsel, Campbell's legal representative, gave notice that SSL trustee would be filing 3 additional applications to the court which arise from Justice Batt's last ruling in May. Open quote. We also have some concerns about the publication of the report, my lord. Given the things that concern us, and we are wondering, my lord, if it's an appropriate matter to do so. If we had gotten it before, we would have been able to make the proper applications. But ending further consideration, my lord, the report be sealed. But we are going to be approaching the court with some format as it relates to the content of the report. May added in her remarks. The request to seal the trustees' report by the FSC would affect October 18 meeting Campbell had set with creditors and claimants. Campbell has been reviewing the activities undertaken by the temporary manager, Kenneth Tomlinson, who was appointed by the FSC in January 2017. Up until he was dislodged in May, Campbell had indicated in his letter to claimants and creditors that he would be seeking to recover the insurance proceeds of SSL Fidelity Insurance Policy, which was used by Tomlinson during his time as temporary manager. With the FSC seeking to have the trustee report sealed, he asked the FSC be careful in its publication to the media and public to avoid creating an incorrect narrative. She mentioned this point as she noted that Campbell had to deal with the FID. Grant creditors, adjudication claims, and off-balance sheet assets of SSL clients, and that threats on litigations came from some clients whose claims did not come in a timely manner. They even referenced a Jamaica Observer article titled 4.7 billion good news for SSL clients, and quoted verbatim from the same article which contained parts of FSC's statement to the public. The FSC has been limiting its public commentary on SSL, which has been to the dissatisfaction of affected SSL clients. Right, the regulator last updated the public in May after the judgment. Ratty, to me, as it relates to what we have just read, and here we have where FSC and Feed and Crawl had done their investigation, sent comprehensive report. Now, in this particular situation, right, we're moving away from that comprehensive report that they had done. We have seen now FSC, right, want to seal certain information. So then, my question is, FSC is pursuing openness and clarity within the matter for public understanding of, you know, what is the intricacies in SSL debacle, right, in terms of what transpired and where transparency goes, where FSC is claiming on one hand, doing investigation with Crawl, doing investigation with, you know, those approved bodies that, you know, who are supposed to investigate. But here they are now, which I don't understand. To the contrary, that they want to seal information. What say you on that, Ratty?
FSC, folks, we need to understand that FSC is different from FID. FSC is a regulatory body.
Yes.
They're there to make sure that, you know, the financial sector is running smoothly. They're not there to prosecute anyone. They do audits. They do audits.
Yes.
And that's how they make their money. My understanding is that it is not funded by the government. It's funded by the private industry, financial sector, because when they do audits, people have to pay for the audits, and the audits are called for by government regulations, and it makes sense because they have to protect the investor. Now, the failure of SSL, you can contribute that to FSC and the Ministry of Finance, because FSC said that they found some things wrong with how SSL was doing business, and then they said that they forwarded that to the Ministry of Finance, because remember now, they're just a regulatory body, they just do audits. Yeah. And they said, this is what we found, and I think they did more than one audit, and they found consistently, they found a pattern and practice of financial irregularity. So they sent this over to the Ministry of Finance, and we know what happened there. So some people have made it a point to say, well, that they're partially to blame too, because they could have come out and said something instead of just, you know, keeping it quiet, except for the letter that they sent to the Minister of Finance. But now you see what's going on. First of all, they didn't want the trustee, this person. Yes. They said no. And they said to the judge, we don't want this person. And the judge said, no, you're going to have this person. And then the person provided the report late. Yeah, the person provided the report late. But then again, nobody objected to the late report. They said, we all accepted it. And then while they accepted it, this is the FSC, Financial Services Commission, they turn around now and said, but there are some things in the report that we didn't get a chance to object to, and it's not like an affidavit where somebody can write something and then you respond to it. We can't really respond to this, and they're coming up with all kinds of foolishness, and now asking the judge to seal the report because they said that there are some things in the report that they take issue with. Now, the only thing I can think of well, one of the things I can think of that they would take issue with is their role in all of this. And I think that's what's happening here, because they played a role, and the trustee might be critical of the role that they play in protecting the investment, the people's investments. And so I think they want to have a chance to go over it with the trustee to say, no, you have to take that out, because it might be it's going to be a negative reflection on them. So I think that's why they want to sit down. I don't think they have a problem with the trustee, in the sense that the trustee found some money and said, okay, we're going to pay back pennies on the dollars or whatever on the dollar. I think they have a problem with what the trustee is said or will say about them and their role. So that's why they're asking for, I think they're asking for it to be sealed. It's something that's going to reflect negatively on them, because it just can't be the trustee saying that. And just so people know, the trustee is supposed to do a report talking about how they're going to pay back people. I don't think they have a problem with that. I think they have a problem with the role, what the trustee will say about the role that FSC played in all of this. And now, people go and blame them. And the spotlight will shine on them, and it's going to be a problem. So I think that's it. But, I'm just hoping that the judge will just say, what's it, October 18th, 19th, something like that, they have a hearing. I'm hoping that the judge will just say, no, I'm not going to seal this. Make it public, and just pay back the people. So, that's where I think it should go. I don't think they should seal this thing up, because people need to know what really happened. And we're not getting that information from the prosecutor or from the agency's investigator. We're not getting that. We have one person. And again, I go back to say, Mr. Nigel Clarke said there are few dishonest individuals that are tarnishing the industry's name, painting it in a bad light. And to me, one is not a few. One is not a few. We need more people. And if you look at it from a common sense standpoint, there's no way that this one lady could have moved around and funneled out all of that money by herself. There were layers inside of that organization in terms of bosses. So people knew what was going on. And you can't move that kind of money without people taking notice of it. So, and then remember now, she said that she was actually forced to sign that statement, that statement was prepared for her.
Yes. So
you have some more problems again. So this SSL thing is not, I don't think we're anywhere near to addressing the full scope of this thing, even though they said that Kroll did their report and Kroll collect them paycheck and Kroll is gone, And then think about it too. Think about it. We always hear the minister of national security talk about the investigators in Jamaica, because the police, they can do this too as a financial fraud case. CTOC is involved. And we hear them talk about how they have some of the best investigators in North America, if not the world. And then all of a sudden they go out and then they get a private company to come in and they talk about the expertise of the private company. And I'm saying, well, what about your expertise? You were bragging about your expertise. Put it on display. Let us see it. And then he said, oh, we wanted somebody who's not affiliated with Jamaica. It was just foolishness. So if that is the case, then why you want the FBI? Because the FBI has a presence in Jamaica. So, man, this is just foolishness on top of foolishness on top of foolishness. And again, I just hope the Jamaican people can see the relevance of this and see the connection to their dire straits. I hope they can see it, because we're trying our level best to break it down to the lowest common denominator so that everybody can understand that corruption hurts everybody. Don't think that because it happened up top, then it doesn't affect you. It affects you because the money that's the subject of corruption up top should have flowed. It should have flowed down to you, and you don't get any of that downstream. So you need to start expanding your thought process and see things, see things from a panoramic view instead of a myopic. See broad like this.
Yes.
Say, okay, where was that money supposed to go? Start asking who, very simple questions: who, why, what, where, when, how. Just ask those questions.
Yes.
And you see that it affects you. Yes,
But-
Rockwell.
But in the long run, it is those people who didn't even benefit have to pay back all of that money in terms of loans.
Thank you very much.
They benefit, but you have to pay it back.
Thank you very much. That's an excellent point. People remember that the 750 million US dollars that Jamaica received during COVID, and some of you never got any of that money, even though it was especially poor people, because it came in for poor people and businesses, and the poor people, we know never a lot of never get any money. Guess what? You, but certainly your children, if not you, your children and your children will be paying back that loan. I will never get the money, and the money came for you. That make any sense?
But I tell you something, Ratty, and I'm glad you touched that. To me, that just describe, you know, the viciousness of this prime minister. To know that people are suffering in COVID, and you have gotten money, donations, right, to pass on to the Jamaican people, and you ring it to your company, charity company, and converted the money to your personal use. I don't think it can get, you know, it is just, that is just off the hook when you look on that behavior. Remember, we are not telling any lie on the Prime Minister, right? That came out into the report. Where the Prime Minister converted donations to his personal use. So I have to argue now. I mean, where is the Prime Minister heart lies? Does he have any? Does the Prime Minister have a conscience?
No, you know what he's saying now? I tell you, the people around him, they're so stupid. They're saying now that, was it Positive Jamaica Foundation, that charity, they're saying it wasn't registered as a charity. That's what they're saying now. But he was soliciting funds for it as a charity.
As a charity?
Yeah. He wasn't saying to people, this is my personal thing. I want to send money to me. Positive Jamaica Foundation is not that. I'm sure he didn't say Positive Jamaica Foundation is not a charity, people. This is my personal account and I want to send money. It's going to be one of my 28 accounts. So I want to send money to this account for me. I'm sure he never said that.
No.
I'm sure he never said that. He was using it as a charity. Now, here's the problem. See, him create more problems for himself, because the problem now is going to be, well, you were using it as a charity, but you're in violation of the law because you didn't register it as a charity.
Charity. So that's another problem.
It's another problem.
That's another problem for the Prime Minister.
That's
All
the-
right. Yeah, go ahead, Ratty. Sorry.
No, I was saying I don't know who's advising him, but like, I don't think the challenge. I think the challenge you have now is legal versus moral. He will argue that has not done anything illegal. He can make the argument, Larkland, but the facts don't show that. The facts don't show that. The facts. Let me give you one, Larkland. Let me give you one. The facts show that when he got that $50 million loan from Barita, and he claimed that he put up stocks, he put up, and the paperwork show that he put up stocks, the Shenstone property, and an insurance policy. Here's what the facts show. He got the loan before he owned the stocks, the shares. He got the loan before he owned them. He's supposed to have the loan before getting, because that's what you're going to use as collateral.
Exactly.
And it shows that he used the loan to purchase the shares that he pledged as collateral. He take the money first and then buy the shares later, and almost 2 weeks later, and then say, here are the shares. Wherever hear that, Larkland, you think you can go in the bank, Larkland, and tell them, say, you want to borrow $10, and them say, where you collateral? And you say, no, give me the money first, and then you go buy the collateral, and I'm come on the next week. Wherever hear that, Larkland. The other thing is that they found out that there was no policy. There's no policy. And the third thing is that the property. They found out that he didn't own the property. Imperium didn't own that property until
He didn't own
6
the property.
months. 6 months after he got the loan, the property was owned by Admat. And the loan was given to Imperium. He didn't own it. So that's what I'm saying to you. They can say whatever they want to say, but the facts are the facts, right? The facts won't change. The paperwork is there, or the paperwork is not there in some instances. So, you know, and the idea with him using the money from the foundation to purchase the $94,000 bond, the bank, the bank personnel testified. They said, no, we never because he said, oh, I gave them instructions. I gave them verbal instructions. They testified that we do not accept verbal instructions for transactions like this. We do not. You have to put it in writing. And it makes sense. Because if something go wrong, you don't want a client come and say, me did tell you, say, or something go wrong. And the client probably never did, but just come and say, no. So they said, no, want it in writing. And then they try to change it. And then what happened? Him take the money and put 9. Imperium was controlled exclusively by the Prime Minister. Imperium started out with 1,000 shares. The Prime Minister owned 600 and 400 just sit down, not assigned to anybody. Him own Imperium. And the money for the bond went to Imperium, an account controlled exclusively, solely, only by the Prime Minister. Him are the owner of Imperium, nobody else. Maybe him change it now, but at the time, him are the man who run Imperium. And he had the money. The investigation shows that he had the money when he cashed in the bond. He had the money being used for 3 years. 3 years, and it's only when he was approached by the Integrity Commission, he moved the money back, the 30-something thousand back into the charity. Then listen to this now. If it's your account, if Positive Jamaica Foundation is your account, it's not a charity. Nobody can tell you what to do with it. So why you move the money after them talk to you and you move back the same amount and move it back over there? Why you do that? You should just say, no, Positive Jamaica is my personal account. I use that account. It's one of my 28 accounts. So I'm not moving any money. So I can do whatever I want because it's my account. Why move it when them come to him and say to him, say, hey, you use money from the charity and you use it for the last 3 years, you buy the bond with it and all that stuff, and you shouldn't do it. Why nobody just tell them, say, no, man, no business, this is my thing. Why nobody do that? That's why I said to him have some stupid people, and him not realize that him are running out more trouble now. More trouble him are running out with this foolishness.
Yes.
Hole deeper.
Yes, digging his hole deeper. So right. No.
Oh, like who hold him accountable? Look, if you look on the screen, look to my left. You see 2 people over there, so? Yeah, them are holding him accountable.
All right.
Look to him, right. You see me I hold him accountable.
All right.
And we have others over here where we're trying to hold him accountable, and we will hold him accountable. Just watch. Because you know what happened, Larkland? Think about it, Larkland. 5 years ago, you never have something like this where you look on right now. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you never had this. Somebody who can, the report, 10 years ago, the report would have come out, nobody would have heard anything about it. The cleaner report on it one time, and then that's the end of that. But now you have people who have beat it, and not only have beat it, but also break it down so that you don't have to read it. Or if you can read it if you want, but if you don't want to read it, then you just want to hear what I want. And what we do, we show you page number, we show you paragraph number.
Exactly.
So if you doubt us, you can go read it for yourself.
Exactly.